He called me the other day, and I was taking care of some business. I couldn't answer the phone. I was actually on another phone doing a check-in with some kids, and it was like, and I never got back. No.
In the audience here.
You know I love that boy.
Am I allowed to ask you a question?
Huh? I'll take it. What was it too? Porsche? Audi? Bentley? Oh my God. She did, and I'm just like, it's not. But we don't, you're just like whatever. No, it's gotta be. Otter always leaves her stuff laying around.
Hey, Bob.
It's like, I'm pretty sure.
So, are we allowed to ask a question on one of these things real quick? On the 28th and 29th on the reverse parade, we're having 2 nights?
Can you hear me, Christine?
Yes, I can hear you. You can fill out a speaker's
We all
card,
back? We waiting for Brett?
and
so I'm
I'll
back.
call you and you can ask. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, this time we're gonna resume the meeting of September 21st, 2020. Councilmember Lenore, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes.
Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Mayor Velazquez,
Here.
Councilmember Lenore,
Present.
Councilmember Resendez,
Here.
Vice Mayor Spencer,
Here.
City Manager Miller,
Here.
City Attorney Epperson,
Here.
Interim Police Chief Reynoso.
Here.
Thank you. The agenda for the City of Hollister City Council regular meeting of September 21st, 2020 was posted on the bulletin board on September 16th, 2020 at 11:58 a.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Thank you very much. City Attorney, will you please report out from closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city council went into closed session to discuss the item agendized for closed session discussion, and direction was given to staff. The city council recessed from closed session at 6:28 p.m. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. We're gonna move to the consent agenda. Are there any items council would like to pull?
I have a question regarding the F7. Do you want me to ask it, Mr. Perez? Or will you come up, because it's on the consent agenda. So if you have a question, I'll ask it now, a simple question. I believe it was the clarification that the parade will be two days? That's the question. Does anybody know? It'll be a two. Go
Can't
ahead.
hear you. What is it?
I wanted to know on the reverse parade at the airport.
That's not a consent item.
Oh, that's not a consent. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Mayor. I'm sorry.
That's
I was
fine.
wrong. Okay.
Okay.
Excuse me. Thank you.
And, yeah, is there any
That's
speaker
an
cards?
F7.
I have no speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. My bad.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We're gonna move to public input. This is the time for anyone in the audience to speak on any item not on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Speaker cards are available in the lobby and are to be completed and given to the city clerk before speaking. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium, state your name and city for the record, and speak to the city council. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes per subject. Please note, state law prohibits the city council from discussing or taking action on any item not on the agenda. Do we have any speaker cards tonight?
Yes, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Susan Logue. Susan,
This is Susan Logue. Nice to see you all. I wanted you to know that the Friends are continuing to support the library in its outreach and virtual services. And we recently finished our first digital newsletter, and we're very excited about that. We'll be sharing that with you. And we'll also be participating in the Community Foundation upcoming fundraiser for local nonprofits. So just want to let you know what we're doing there at the Friends in the Library. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had registered 2 others, Courtney Evans. Courtney, are you wanting to speak at public comment? If you do, please raise your hand. Is she online? Okay, she's not online. Mary Gilbert, did you want to speak? Is she online? Mary, please go ahead.
I'm blind, sorry. This is Mary Gilbert. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, good evening. I am with the Executive Director of the Council of Governments, and I was here tonight. I wanted to just report on some important news that happened at our last COG board meeting last Thursday. As our partners here at the city know, we've been working with Caltrans and our local partners to develop a strategy to deliver the Highway 25 4-lane widening project. We now have funding available for the project through our Measure G program as well as state funding. And we've been looking at solutions to make sure that we're ready to deliver the best project that we can for the community and to expedite the project schedule. So at our meeting last week, the COG board made an important decision. They reviewed alternatives that had been vetted through a team of engineers and planners and other experts in transportation to look at ways to improve on the project. So they have selected an alternative that gives us the opportunity to now start moving forward more quickly on the project environmental review and design. And just briefly, the alternatives that were chosen are to emphasize the interchange at Highway 156 and Highway 25 as being our first primary order of work on the project, as well as the section of highway from San Felipe Road in Hollister to the northward to the interchange. So we will be taking steps now to have an agreement finalized with Caltrans that gets us moving forward on the environmental review for the project and gets us closer to fully funding it over the next several years. So I just wanted to report on that. It was really exciting news, and we're also working on a ribbon cutting for this stage of the work. So we'll be sending out invitations to the City Council for that as well. So thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you so much for the update.
I have no more speakers for public comment, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We're going to move to item D1, City Manager's Report.
Nothing to report at this time.
D2, Training.
Nothing to report at this time.
We have
sorry.
Tina Garza who wishes to
sorry.
speak on that.
Sorry about that.
Tina, please go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor Velasquez and City Council members. Tina Garza, Recreation Supervisor. On Thursday, September 3rd, Recreation Coordinators Nick Marola and Armando Medina attended a virtual leadership summit with the California Parks and Recreation Society. The focus of the summit was to stay front row positive in a balcony negative world. The keynote speaker provided practical ideas, tips, and strategies to live in the front row instead of settling for the negativity. Staff learned that it's so easy to focus on the negative during these times, but learn strategies to avoid it. Staff also listened in on how other recreation agencies are adapting their programs, classes, and events to follow state and local health department requirements. And both of our recreation coordinators appreciated the opportunity to attend the virtual summit. They gained knowledge that will help them in their day-to-day situations and provide a positive experience for the residents of the city of Hollister.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tina.
Welcome.
We are going to now move to item F1.
Thank you, Mayor. On this one, this item would adopt an ordinance to require face coverings and other public health measures and incorporate penalties for violations of the ordinance. This ordinance for face covering is based on other local agencies that, like the county and city of Monterey, Santa Cruz, and our neighbor San Juan Bautista. So our recommendation is to read by title only, waive full reading, and adopt ordinance number 1195, amending Title 8 Health and Safety by adding Chapter 8.05 face coverings to the Hollister Municipal Code. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
No?
Do we have any speaker cards on this item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt, but I'm against that mandate.
Vivian Stubblefield? If you wish to speak, fill out a speaker's card and bring it.
Yes, ma'am.
I am Vivian Stubblefield from Hollister, and I'm against the ordinance number 1195, the face coverings. There is no pandemic, in my own opinion, and no masks. No masks are useless. No masks are useless, as far as I'm concerned. There's no emergency. There is an emergency, and that's for our businesses going out of business left and right. And it's just sad to see that. I'm sure it makes some of our leaders happy, but for shame. They care more they don't care for the people, and they're against the people, and they should be for the people. And I ask that you leaders would review your pledges when you took the office to serve the people and be for the people. Thank you.
Maureen Martin?
Hi, my name is Maureen Martin, Mayor Velasco and Council. I'm a business owner in San Juan Bautista, which is part of San Diego County. My business has been shut down since March 11th. We were open for 1 month. They shut us down again. We do all the protocols. And I'm just saying, like, the mask, I just saw a sign out on the street of San Juan Bautista. They're going to charge people $100 in Spanish and English, a little billboard. And I had 4 people in one day tell me they're not going to come back to San Juan to do business with us anymore. Because if they feel they have to wear a mask out in open air, and they just feel violated in that sense, where most people wear a mask. We wear masks, we do all the protocols. As a salon owner, I just encourage this fine thing is really upsetting people. I'm not the person to, be upset because I understand you have a job to do, but we're trying to work, and it's diverting business from our cities. And I'm just pleading with you guys, please don't do fines, because most people wear them. Most people don't have a problem with it. And I just ask right now that you just consider that as part of your decisions, because it's just driving business away. And we want business to come into Hollister and to San Juan. And people were mad, really upset. And I can't calm them down. You know what I'm saying? I could do what I could do, but you know what I'm saying? I'm just out of respect. We all wear masks. Out of respect, because you don't know if you go home to an elderly person or someone who knows someone who has had leukemia or cancer treatments or anything like that. So it's out of respect, but I just ask that the fine just not be there, because it's making people upset. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Help us out in San Diego County and San Juan. Thanks.
Celeste Toledo Bocanegro?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So, I'm a citizen here. I was born and raised in Hollister. Many of you may know me just by my face, not personally know me. So, I'm against the mandate. I'm also against the mask. You know, many of my posts on social media are against the mask. Do I wear it? Yes, because you know what? I'm a citizen who follows the law. So, knowing that following the law is what I do, I'm for going into the store wearing my mask to get my essentials, but I'm not for wearing the mask in public while I'm out jogging. I also have health condition, which I won't disclose, but you know, it makes it hard for me to breathe at times. So it interrupts my health as well wearing my mask. I want to be able to breathe fresh air, especially if I'm outside. And I don't want to go to the doctor and get a paper that says whatever just to have proof that I'm not able to wear a mask. So I don't agree with the mandate. I do travel to Monterey often. It's one of my favorite places to be. I don't wear the mask. I get there, I wear the mask to go into the wharf, get my food, and get out. You know, I do speak to the transients there. They even say it themselves. You know what? We live here, and there's no mandate or no law that we're gonna follow because we live here. And I agree with them. So, being a citizen born and raised here, and someone who follows the rules and the regulations, no criminal record. I've worked for the city and, you know, other official positions here in my county. I will not follow this mandate. So if I have to pay 100, 500, 1,000, I guess that's what's gonna take. But I will not follow that law. And if it takes me to get a misdemeanor, that's unfortunate because you're making good citizens illegal, you know, committing crimes, and that's not the way to go. I'm sure the chief knows that educating the public is the way to go. So we'll keep educating the public to wear their masks, but I will not agree on the mandate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Patty Spears? Patty, go ahead.
Good evening, this is Patty Spears, resident of Hollister. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay, the reason why I am against this ordinance, I think it's absolutely ridiculous and it's just unconstitutional when it comes down to that. I've also spoke at the Board of Supervisors meeting and stated my facts there. We are dealing with something that we all know this has to do with getting money from the state. And so we have to play nice with Gavin Newsom in order to get our penance, you know, or our little money. And the thing is, realistically, if you let our businesses open back up, you can get your tax revenue. We don't have to bow down to Gavin Newsom. And that's what this is, and that's why he's been so heavy-handed with his executive order pen, is just to get people to comply. Now, everything under the guise of COVID. Now, as far as people have been behaving, okay, they're using their mask inside stores. I haven't seen it yet, and I shop in Hollister often, and I haven't seen an instance where somebody is not wearing their mask. Everybody's being respectful of everyone else. Now, once I get out of the store, I'm gonna take my mask off when I'm not around anyone, but I don't need a ticket for $100, or let's say my husband and I, or somebody else that we're with, get a ticket each for $100. It's absolutely ridiculous, and especially in this atmosphere where we can't work anymore. My business is basically shut down, and that's exactly what you're basically going to do with the remaining businesses that are still hanging on by a thread in this city. Also, if you go to selexcovid.com, you'll see facts by 3 different doctors stating that the false positive rate is extremely high, 80%. So I encourage you to go there, CELLEX COVID.com, to see those facts. And I'm also opposed to this being a misdemeanor, because a misdemeanor falls onto your record. It can keep you from getting a future job, which we all may need very soon, and I'm totally against it. Those are my words. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
April Royale? April, go.
Hi.
We can
My
hear
name
you.
is
Go
April
ahead.
Real. I'm a resident in San Benito County. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay. I'm against mandating masks. I believe that masks encourage a false sense of security and cause division in the community. There's a very common misconception that all people have to wear masks. There is not a mandate on a federal or state level, only a recommendation. For some, wearing a mask is not possible. For this part of the population, it is already extremely difficult to go out in public without a mask. We have all seen the viral videos of people being verbally and sometimes physically attacked in stores. And what's worse is that this policing amongst civilians is being heavily encouraged on social media. Mandating masks and handing out fines will only encourage this behavior. If masks were as effective as we're treating them to be, every state would already have a mandate. This should not be a county decision. I urge you to vote no on this mandate. Thank you.
Thank you. Verdana Freitas?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Thank you. Hey, I want to commend all the people that called in and spoke so eloquently. I want to bless them and give them grace. I wish I was as gracious as they. So, of course, I am totally a no on the mask mandate. And the first reason is you have about 90% of the people who are already following along with wearing a mask, even though there's no state law, there's no local law, there's nothing, there's no law that undergirds this mandate. It's totally illegal on its face, and you literally on its face, no pun intended. So you already have people following along, and now you want to mandate and start imposing fees, and I think that is a mistake. And what I want to do is speak to the people who are listening and the businesses that are downtown. If this mandate passed, you guys are going to be hurt downtown because we're not going to come down anymore to support your businesses as much as we want to. We just aren't going to do it. And this council will be putting a nail in the coffin of your business. They've already put a nail in the coffin of your business. This will be a second and third nail. Secondly, the corporate businesses like the Targets and Rayleighs and Safeways and Aces and Walgreens and all those other things, those businesses are going to be subjected to protests of people coming in without masks. And if they think they're afraid of getting lawsuits from COVID, they should be afraid of getting lawsuits for violating California Civil Code 51, denying access to their citizens. These corporations will become subjected to that. And thirdly, I wanted to let everybody know, we have a GoFundMe. We have $1,800 in it already. And anybody that gets a citation, instead of paying a citation, they're welcome to donate to our fund, and we will be seeking recourse from our local officials. So if we can get 1,000 citizens in San Benito County to each put in $10, that is $10,000, and we'll go from there. I think we can do it. So anyway, I just wanted to speak to the people. I'm not interested in speaking to the city council because I don't think they can be reasoned with at this point. Thank you.
Ryan Jones? Ryan, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. Please go ahead.
Hi, this is Ryan Jones. I'm a resident of Hollister, California here. Not only am I against completely this ordinance that the council is considering right now, but I know you guys know that, I'm sorry to inform you, but this is a steep violation of the people's civil rights and liberties. And you're probably tired of hearing that, but sorry, the truth has a tendency never to go away, right? This tyrannical behavior really needs to end, and you guys can end it now. A vote to implement this is a vote to perpetuate an unlawful order and would further create greater division into our community that we already know we really can't bear. this would not only and does not solve anything, period, it really doesn't. It doesn't solve anything, you guys. And I'm sorry, you will be held liable for this. And I want everybody sitting here right now, ask yourselves, what will this really accomplish? Truly, what will it? Are you going to fine, you're going to arrest good standing citizens? You know, the state just released 18,000 prisoners from the jails of California alone because of COVID concerns, which is ridiculous. So what are we going to do? Fill these jails back up with people who either can't wear a mask because of religious beliefs or physical reasons, which no one fails to ask? And that would be an actual interesting irony, right? I mean, think about that. How do you plan to enforce such a thing? Do you have the time? Do you have the energy? Where are the resources? Well, I guess we know the resources. We're going to turn the citizens on each other, right? That's always great. Do you want a police state? Because that's what is becoming here. And be careful what we invite into our community, you guys. As I mentioned, this is a steep violation that is a tough slope to get off once you start walking on it. So all of you know that such an ordinance is completely illegal to enforce onto the people and is also discrimination of its worst kind. I highly recommend that this gets removed, absolutely removed, and never to return. It is time to show true innovative leadership, and now is time to be those people. We are not to follow King Newsom, who will only be remembered for violating the people and acting criminally. He will eventually be moving and forgetting about what he did to California soon enough. Do you want your name on that train as well? So all I say is let's go forward together. Let's pioneer the trail back to a place where it's waiting for us, a place of prosperity, harmony for all. A no vote on this or a complete removal of that is the first step towards that place. Thank you.
Courtney Evans?
Hello, thank you for this time. First, I am calling once again. I think this is the fourth time we've had this on an agenda. This is the fourth time that people are calling to stand up and speak against this. Listen to the people. I request that the mask ordinance be removed from the agenda. I request that you share and be open and transparent with all of this information, all of these meetings that you're having. The city staff, the county staff is threatening and lying to businesses about the enforcement and fines and lawful repercussions that can happen. All meetings of any policy should be open and public and governed by the provisions of the Brown Act. A meeting is defined as any gathering of a majority of members in order to discuss and carry out the public's business. This is the public's business. You are killing our businesses. You are trying to take away our freedoms, and we the people have the right to attend. We attend these meetings to represent ourselves. It is the request to safeguard our accountability of government to the public. Please remember that the principle that secrecy is the anti-ethical to a democratic system of government of the people, by the people, and for the people. You cannot make decisions, have meetings, request things from city and county, and try and implement without the public's input.
Isn't she inputting right now?
I ask that this be taken off and never spoke of again. Allow the people to live their lives, open up our county, stop following a dictatorship. If you continue to, there's no reason for your position. You're not here to take orders from a public health office or a governor. You are here to represent the people, and you hear our voices tonight. We're out here. You can hear us, and we're not going anywhere. Open our county. Open our county. Open our county. Thank you. Have a good day.
Emily Scow? Emily, go ahead.
Yes, I'm here. Good evening. Well, that's a hard one to follow. Thank you, Courtney. I wish I could be down there with you guys. My name is Emily Scow. I'm a lifetime resident of Hollister. Our family settled here back in 1888. I'm calling in tonight to urge you all to vote no on the mask mandate. I'm going to ask you guys as a question that if you are so concerned with the health of our community, what did you do to protect our restaurant owners and workers that were forced to operate outside for over a month
in smoky, poor air quality with temperatures reaching over 100 degrees at times. Did you guys push back on our governor or ask him or tell him that restaurants in Hollister should be allowed to operate inside during this time? Think about that. Workers forced to wear a mask outside in poor air quality, in the smoke and the heat in order to provide for their families, and many of which were afraid to speak up because they don't want to lose their jobs. That's the fear that you guys are allowing. That is also not protecting the health of our community. They can operate indoors safely, they can follow guidelines, but you guys are not pushing back on our governor. The president himself said on Tuesday that he does not understand why states such as California and New York are not opening up and also when he was asked if he would mandate a mask order, he said absolutely not. You guys are killing our small businesses. I have personally talked to over 30 restaurant workers that have been in tears, that have been crying because of the conditions that they are forced to work in outside in a hot parking lot, and now you're wanting to enforce a mask mandate. I agree with the woman that spoke earlier about driving people away. When I found out San Juan had a mask mandate that I had to put a mask on just to walk down the street, I said absolutely not. We are not going down there to eat. That's ridiculous. So I just say vote no on this. We are the people that voted you guys into office to be our voice, and we the people are saying no. We oppose this mask mandate, and I urge you guys again to vote no. You absolutely, as of tonight's call, you kind of don't have a choice because all the people have said no at this point. Thank you.
Lacey Bordet. Lacey, go ahead. Lacey, unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. Please go ahead.
My name's Lacey Burdett. I'm a resident of Hollister my entire life. I oppose the mask mandate. It's time to let our community live our lives, open up our businesses. It's just time. You are doing more damage by imposing all these restrictions. And now you're gonna fine us and give us misdemeanors for not wearing a mask. Let us live, let us carry on. You're gonna kill our community, COVID or not. I think it's time for us to go forward. That's all I have to say.
Anna Puffer.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead. Sorry, Anna, start again.
Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm a teacher of 14 years, and I am now a homeschool mom of 6 little children. I oppose the mask mandate. I think it is too much government control with too little logic. You can't stand so firm on a mandate like this when there isn't enough science or logic to back it up. For example, the CDC on their own website came out with this, and I quote, "Cloth masks that are used to slow the spread of COVID-19 offer little protection against wildfire smoke. They do not catch the small particles found in wildfire smoke that can harm your health. Limit your outside time, blah, blah, blah." Did you know that wildfire smoke are bigger than virus particles? So basically the CDC is saying that the masks do nothing against smoke. Oh, but they do so much against COVID. It makes no logical sense. So just look at the logic. There is no logic. There is no truth. And there's so much scientific evidence to show that masks do absolutely nothing. And to kill businesses and draw people away from your community when you don't have 100% logic on reasoning behind it. Another example of no logic is if the other day I went into the store and one of my kids forgot his mask, the other one's wearing a bandana. So the kid who What logic is that? How is a t-shirt so much worse than a bandana? It doesn't make any sense. There is no logic in this. If you are playing football for a college team right now, if you're tackling each other and smothering each other, you don't have to be wearing a mask, but the second you walk off onto the sidelines, you have to have your mask on. Can you explain the logic to me? When you're not tackling each other, and also you've been tested 3, 4, 5 times for COVID that week, but you still have to wear a mask. It makes absolutely no logical sense, and you can't put forward a mandate or a law without any logic to back it whatsoever. Also, people are not washing their hands, they're not changing out their masks, you have to wash your hands for 20 seconds before you even touch your mask. Do you even know anyone who's done that? Can anyone in this room raise their hand and say that they don't touch their mask? No. So what is the point of your mask if it's not healthy, clean, and safe? It's not doing anything for your health, and yet you're willing to force all citizens to wear it outside. My last example is this. I went to Monterey to go play Frisbee golf with my family in the middle of nowhere, okay? We were probably 10 miles from another human being, and we were not wearing a mask.
Thank you, Anna. Your time is up. Thank you. Rihanna Monk. Rihanna Monk, are you there?
Hi, my name is Rhiannon Blankenship. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I would like to say that I oppose this mask mandate, as it will not only cause division amongst the people in our county, and it will also make life more difficult for people like myself who have conditions that prevent us from wearing masks. I foresee having my rights questioned regularly by not only random citizens, but also those who would be enforcing this mandate. Am I to be questioned for proof of my exemption at the door to establishments or just walking down the street? How many fines will I face daily? I was under the assumption that California citizens are protected by law from discrimination under California Civil Code 51B. This code states, in summary, that we are all free and equal and entitled to full and equal accommodation, advantages, facilities, privileges, or services in all business establishments of every kind whatsoever. There is nothing written in to say that to receive these rights we must be masked. I urge you all to vote no on this mandate and to keep our civil rights intact. Thank you.
Olivia Morgan. Olivia.
Hello, good evening. I am also, like the many folks who have spoken tonight, against this mask mandate for the city of Hollister and the county of San Benito. I have lived here for 10 years and have found just now to be finding a way into this community of wonderful, lovely, heartfelt people. Wearing masks makes for self-righteousness, makes for people to be scared of others, and it is utmost of importance to show our community who we are as happy, wonderful, happy people with smiles on our face. This mask mandate is unnecessary. The chances of dying from COVID are very small, but continue to dwindle nearly every day. So this is a power grab from our state that is trickling through our community, and we need to show people that we are a freedom-seeking city. We are a city where people believe in America. This is a citizens' public forum to speak as we want to be free, and thank you very much. Have a nice day.
James Paradiso.
Yeah, hi, this is James Paradiso. Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Okay, hi, my name is James Paradiso. I'm a Hollister resident of Hollister. You know, I agree with all the others who spoke against this mask mandate. I think it is absolutely, totally asinine that you'd even think of, you know, something like this. So much so that it would be irresponsible of you to vote on such a mandate, okay? So if you were listening, there's a lot of pissed off people represent the people, and if you do, and you're not pissed off about the mandate, then clearly you don't represent us, you know, the people of San Benito County. So that's all I got to say on the matter. I say no. Thank you.
Susan Garcia? Suzanne Garcia?
Yeah, there. Hello.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
So I oppose the mask mandate. I'm opposed to it for various reasons. Since when did a mask replace our immune system? A robust immune system is basically what stops pandemics, not a mask. Secondly, what about all the people who are being discriminated with health conditions? For example, take my son. He had a pneumothorax, and yet you're going to force people with health conditions and discriminate against them to go into places of business or make them wear them all day at work for 8 hours, and they're scared to report their health illnesses because they don't want to lose their jobs. And in addition to that, I work with special ed. I can't even imagine all these parents with autistic children who are forcing their children to wear a mask. That is, I just don't see how you guys think this one size fits all is appropriate for everybody. It's a really slippery slope. You guys, you want us to trust public health, however, where's all the health warnings that fluoride is a neurotoxin? Where's public health to inform us about amalgam fillings and mercury and the off-gassing from people who, have mercury amalgam fillings? There's so many other public health issues, concerns, our water, the air quality. There's so many different things, but yet you feel like COVID and masks is the most important thing that needs to be focused on. And in addition to the mental health issues and people being afraid and isolating themselves, there's so many factors that you guys are not considering and thinking that wearing a mask is going to solve the problem, and it's not. So I'm definitely opposed to the mask ordinance, and I think you guys just need to remove it altogether.
Kayla Kenny? Kayla, go ahead.
Yes, hi there. Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Oh, all right. Good evening. I'm a resident of Hollister, and I've lived here for 6 years, and I have always raved about the community here and how much I love it, and I have been just so joyful in living here, and it's changed dramatically, and I'm sure people can say that everywhere they live, but I just expected differently from our rural county, and to think that we need to force masks on every individual, it's just unheard of. It's sad. I mean, I hear people cheering, and like, for me, I'm almost in tears because I just can't believe this is where we are at as a people in general, for all of America, but right here in our town, it's just so unexpected. To think that we would fine people for not having their masks, this is just going to cause so much division. I've already heard of so many friends and family leaving California. I was just up in Folsom where everybody was running on the trails, separated, respectfully, common sense, not wearing a mask. It hurts me when I drive my children and I see an elder person walking and they have a mask on. Does that not hurt any of you? I don't know how nobody else sees this. An older person walking uphill with a mask on, probably because they're afraid that either somebody's going to shame them, or maybe they even think there's a citation waiting for them around the corner. We can't be living this way. I miss so much the joy that this community used to have. I personally am a stay-at-home mom of 4 kids, and going to the store literally was a vacation for me. Now it's not at all. I mean, I used to enjoy speaking with others at the store, and everything has changed. And I think that you guys have a position to make a really great difference, to stand up for what is right. And I just hope that you do. I hope that something tugs at your heart tonight, and that you would see the need that needs to be done here. That's all I have to say. I oppose the mandate, if that wasn't clear. Thank you.
Susan Logue? Susan, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, this is Susan Logue. I'm a Hollister resident. I fully support the science behind mask wearing with social distancing as being a way to protect others and ourselves. It's important to respect those in need of protection due to their specific health concerns. So I support a mask mandate. However, instead of a fine, I would request the people who are in charge would offer masks to those who can't follow or not able to follow the mandate. The science from the 1918 pandemic clearly shows us that masks work. But I'd really ask not for a fine, but instead to maybe offer a mask. And if the person can't wear the mask, please show some reason why, as there are, valid reasons why someone might not be able to. I really think this is just temporary until we reach the other side of this terrible pandemic. And I think that people in the community love it here, as we all do. And we can be a healthy, social community for us all. But masks are really necessary for us all to live. Citations are not the answer, but discussion with others and offering a solution to them is. Thank you so much for your time.
Kevin Barcelos. Kevin, go ahead.
Hi, Kevin Barcelos from Hollister. Just wanted to speak in favor of the mandate. I've been speaking at various board meetings since the pandemic started, and we hear the same crowd of folks that show up to those meetings every couple of weeks that have shown up tonight. It's an extremely loud minority of folks that are fighting what is a very basic common sense mitigation for the pandemic. For those that are worried about businesses, the way to get businesses open and get people kind of back to their old habits is by knocking down the transmission of the virus in the community. And the best way to do that is by everybody wearing a mask. And if we don't have a mandate with some teeth and enforcements, the signaling to the rest of the community is that you're not really serious about it. So I would strongly encourage the council to vote in favor of the ordinance today, and again, we want to all get pushing in the same direction and bring transmission down so that we can get our kids back to school, get businesses operating, at close to the level that they were pre-pandemic, and we save the vulnerable populations. We've just seen over the last few days 9 new people in the hospital. Over the last just since Friday. This is not going away, and we need to get serious about this. And again, I would urge the council to approve the ordinance as written. Thank you.
Heather Casada.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can, go ahead.
Okay, hi, my name is Heather Casada. I just wanted to say that I'm opposed to this mandate. I just wanted to say recently I've just noticed a lot of businesses going in there. People are just really kind of getting mean to each other. Went in today, for instance, GameStop with my boys. The kid there acted like everybody was a giant disease. It was ridiculous. I just feel like this is just getting way out of hand. If you're worried about it, by all means, wear your mask. I think everybody around town's been pretty good about doing it. I haven't seen anybody in a grocery store without one. I mean, we're all doing what we have to do to get this to pass. But to be honest, I feel like once the masks were mandated for the grocery stores, I feel like our numbers skyrocketed, and it may be due to more testing, but I just feel like it's kind of getting a little ridiculous now. So thank you so much.
I have no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any comments from council members?
Yes.
Go ahead, Councilmember Lenore.
Okay. Apparently, folks didn't study the California Department of Health guidelines for exemptions, because I keep hearing it. So let's just take a look at the exemptions from wearing a face covering. So those are persons younger than 2 years old, okay? Persons with medical conditions, mental health conditions, or disabilities that prevent wearing a face covering. Persons who are hearing impaired or communicating with a person who is hearing impaired. Persons for whom wearing a face cover would create a risk to the person related to their work. Persons who are obtaining a service involving the nose or face for which temporary removal of their face covering is necessary. Persons who are seated at a restaurant or other establishments that offers food or beverage service. Persons who engage, and pay attention to this one. This is for Celeste. She left. I hope she hears my answer. Persons who are engaged in outdoor work or recreation, such as swimming, walking, hiking, bicycling, or running when alone or with a household members. There's no mask required for hiking, running, swimming, walking, okay? So that's a moot argument there. The last one, persons who are incarcerated. Okay. I don't know what you all expect, but on September 18th, Dr. Robert Redfield, the director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, testified before the Senate stating, "We have clear scientific evidence that mask works and are our best defense." Dr. Fauci followed up with, he's the director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, stated that a combination of an effective vaccine and adherence to certain public health principles will get us to the point where we want to be. The California Department of Public Health, which the letter is included in the agenda packet, states that the use of face covering by everyone can limit the release of infected droplets when talking, coughing, and or sneezing, as well as reinforce physical distancing, because they all work together. It's not just the mask, it's also the physical distancing. So I hear a lot about Placer County. Well, I looked up a few things. And you know, I always like apples to apples instead of apples to oranges. So Placer County has opted to follow the state guidelines, the same as San Benito County. They reverted to the state guidelines. Placer County is under the same tier system that we are. However, Placer County has a positivity rate of 3.2, and San Benito County has a positivity rate of 8.1. Now, I think we should concentrate on prevention because we are this close, very close to tier number 2. If we drop down those 0.2 to a 7.9 and we maintain that 7.9 for 3 weeks, we will be in tier 2 and we will be headed to tier 3. These are solutions. There's performance to get where we want to be. Vedana, I just struggle very much, and I know economics is important, and I know people's livelihoods and their businesses are severely impacted. But when I sit here as a leader, I really have to put the health of the citizens before the economics. I'm so sorry, but this is just my opinion. But I do listen to you. I just don't agree. I listen to everything. I read everything you send me. I don't like the kind of tone sometimes, but that's your option to talk to me. Just a second.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Oh, just a second, please.
Go ahead.
The answer to lowering the positivity rate, to get the mask off our face, is more people testing. This thing where people think, oh, we shouldn't test. Well, that's the problem. You need more people to test negative to lower that positivity rate. That's how you lower it, to get the people that aren't sick to test. So I really encourage everybody to test, because maybe all of you folks that are hopefully negative will lower that positivity rate. I reinforce private businesses' right to refuse customers who don't want to put on a mask. When you want to pay their workman's comp premium, then maybe it's your call. And if you're so concerned about businesses, you do not subject them to lawsuits regarding workman's comp. Now that's irresponsibility. Unfortunately, people do not always follow laws, ordinances that are enacted. And I see folks, you know, and again, I'm not after those couple of folks that are walking down a sidewalk and they're exempt, number 7 exemption. But I could feel it, and I know people want to take those masks off. But you know, sometimes you got to do what you don't want to do, and that's why we have fines for speeding and shoplifting. And anytime you break the law, it's usually associated with a fine. Education is a great tool, but sometimes it's not the only tool, and it's not an effective tool if people are not going to be reasonable. To say that there's no pandemic, you lost me right there. To say there's no 200,000 deaths. And you know what, folks? I hope your Nana or your Nanu don't get sick with their underlying diabetes and get the COVID and die. Because this thing that we have about so cavalier saying they have underlying conditions, guess what? They were living with their heart disease. They were living with their diabetes. They were living with their ailments, but now they're dead because COVID. So I don't like that flippant thing when people say that. I hope that we can come together as a community and work this COVID thing out together. I'm sorry, I have to lead in the best way with scientific information. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Councilmember Lenore.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we do have another person online and a person who walked in to speak. So if I could please just read this real quickly. For public input, it was a time for anyone in the audience to speak. I'm sorry, on this particular matter, we could speak, each speaker had 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes per subject. So we have gone over 30 minutes for this unless council would like to allow the two, one walked in and one is still online that wants to speak.
It's up to the council.
I say yes.
I never want to prohibit anybody from speaking.
Okay, I'm on board.
Shall I do that now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Loretta Avina. Loretta, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
We can, go ahead.
Councilwoman Lenore, thank you. I just wanted to say that I support everything that you said. I too am a firm believer in the science. And I was sitting here listening to everyone speak tonight, and I was very taken aback. I've been living in this community since 1989, and I was shocked at the selfishness that I heard from our speakers tonight. All I heard was I. This, as you said, is a collective problem. It is a pandemic. It is not the flu. It is a highly, highly contagious COVID-19, whatever it is. For these people to say not wearing a mask scientifically has been proven to help stop the spread. For these people that say I can't wear a mask, I have an underlying condition, well, I hope that you're aware that the ADA does permit a retailer to deny goods or service to an individual with a disability if their presence would result in the direct threat to the health and safety of others. We are not violating your constitutional rights if you are being denied service because your presence is threatening the health of the collective. And that's what it's all about. It's the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And it is the few that do not believe in wearing masks. And it is highly irresponsible of you to say that. And I was very surprised that I heard a teacher or a former teacher here saying that she does not believe in wearing a mask. Well, I'm glad that she's not teaching my children, because that is not a critical way of thinking. It's about protecting others, protecting our grandparents, our mothers, our fathers. And like you said, Councilwoman Lenore, it is about working together as a community. I'm not sure that I support fining people, but once I heard about all of the exceptions where you don't have to wear a mask while you're running and swimming and biking, etc., then yeah, you know what? If an individual makes the decision of not wearing a mask, specifically when you are going into a business, then fine them. And for those people, there was one individual that said, oh, I was in San Juan Bautista and I found out that I needed to wear a mask and I didn't want to walk down there to go eat dinner. Well, shame on you. That is the selfishness that I was referring to. I make a purpose of trying to support 1 to 2 restaurants a week, whether it's in San Juan or in Hollister, and I will wear a mask wherever I need to wear one to support those businesses, because that is the responsible thing to do. And as you said, this too shall pass, but we must do it all together.
Sorry, Loretta, thank you. Amber Henderson.
My name is Amber Henderson. As stated, I came here in person, and I know that most people can hear me, but they can't see me. I'm not wearing a mask. There's a reason for that. What I came here to speak about is the enforceability of this ordinance. Pardon me. As the previous speaker stated, there's a federal and state ADA in place. The California law protects people from being discriminated against. I understand. I've read this ordinance today. It states that there are exemptions. I want to point out a few things. Just getting into this building was extremely difficult. Was extremely difficult for me. It's because of the way that I looked. It looks like there's nothing wrong with me. This is not a watch. It's a heart monitor. There is a woman in Texas in a wheelchair. A Sprouts manager called, didn't talk to her, called the police because she was not wearing a mask. A little old lady in a wheelchair, didn't have a mask. And, the police came. The owner didn't have the decency, the manager didn't have the decency to even speak to her. Not that he could have anyways. He couldn't have questioned her, not legally. The police came. The woman was in tears. Someone's grandmother, made to cry. You know what? It's stressful enough for me to go out. Sometimes I can wear a mask, sometimes I can't. I am grateful for people who are trained properly to not discriminate. I was able to walk into Costco one day when I could not wear a mask. Nothing. Once I got through the door, not a single person looked at me. It was very difficult for me to go in there because I could get sick, but I need to feed my family. I want to know in this ordinance, where is it written that where there's training? How do you know if you're finding a business for disobeying the law or doing what they should and not questioning their customers? Please vote no on this. Thank you.
Council, I've had 2 more people come up. Is it okay to continue? 3 more, I'm sorry.
Are they the repeated speakers or new ones?
New ones.
Well, that's a mayor's call. I mean,
These will be the last 3. if there's any more added.
Okay, after these three, okay. Ben Kofi?
Hello? Good evening, City Council, Mayor. I would also ask that this be removed from the agenda. You want to talk about science, but you want to neglect the mortality rate, which is very small, considering things in a emergency are classified as peril, extreme peril. I don't think that we've seen any extreme peril demonstrated in our county. Yes, unfortunately, we have seen a loss of life that takes place naturally as people live and die and the world goes around. However, to shame people for either wanting a mask or not wanting a mask, it doesn't make any group of people better than the other. Your plight on contagion is only relevant if the individual is sick, which there's no way of knowing whether somebody is sick or not. But yet you want to put a sickness on somebody so that then they have to wear a mask that's preventing said sickness from other people. But if the individual is not sick, your science is flawed. The recovery rate, the stability within the people recovering, hospitalized, you say, or just quarantined. There's many different ways to spin the jewel to see different sides. But we all want the town open. We all want people with needs to have those needs be met, whatever they are, whether they're physical or emotional or spiritual. However, there's a gap in the city where people can't go to find spiritual enlightenment or help or the laying hands on of people for healing. There's been an elimination spiritually from the power of God to heal people and for people to see that manifestation in their lives or in the lives of others. You're neglecting a whole realm of things that you don't have control over. You can't decide who went into a business or whether or not they had a health issue that prevented them from a mask. You don't have the things in place in order to citation businesses or people. And there's a list of businesses that have already been cited for masks and a whole slew of other things. But yet, was there an investigation into the people that went into the establishment and were they exempt? You don't know. You can't find out. So that's on you. Until there's a better emplacement of rule and how it's going to be set out, you have no jurisdiction, authority, or anything to pass this through. You don't work for the governor. You don't work for the planned pandemic health organization. You work for the
Thank you,
people
Mr.
also.
Kofi.
Thank you.
Peter Hernandez? Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Mayor, City Council, I've spoken on this before, and I think to a certain extent, I want to frame it in a way that's going to make it a lot more relative. You know, I've heard about, from last meeting, the failed leadership of the county for trying to do this mask ordinance. And it's funny the way it was framed because it poses a question, right? So this masks, by default, going to create the perfect environment and the outcome that we want, right? So I guess if we live in a singular world where there's only one issue that everybody ever deals with, then you would assume that that makes sense. But we live in a world that has a whole lot of variables, and my point is I don't even have to make the argument as much as our current judicial decision by Pennsylvania federal court judge, and I've actually been having conversations with the county council about this, where this judge basically clarified it because he tried to frame it as what does it mean to ultimately address the public health in a state of emergency and making sure that you're protecting public health, but nonetheless you're balancing, and I'm not even going to speak for him, I'm going to speak from his actual opinion that I've been piecing apart. And it says, in this country founded on a tradition of liberty, enshrined in our Constitution, governors, and courts have grappled with how to balance the legitimate authority of public officials in a health emergency with the constitutional rights of citizens. So that basically begs the question, do we care about every single of our community? community, or do we just want to focus on one thing? And so it's okay, we're officially in a day, it sounds like, that we're so focused on this virus and this mask doing its job, supposedly, right? And it's okay to destroy other lives. It's okay to take people's livelihoods away from it. It's okay for businesses shut down. Hooligans just went away. There was a lot of other businesses on their way out. So it's okay to, the suicide rate, it's okay to have a suicide, increasing the suicide rate. It's okay for mental health, right? And with this supposed, it's really more like the placebo, I guess. It makes you feel good. And I've argued this before. I'm all for protecting public health. But when you're dealing with a mask that actually doesn't discourage 6-foot distancing, it actually encourages by default less than 6-foot distancing, because now all of a sudden you feel good about yourself. Hey, we can hang out with each other right next to each other because this mask is 100% foolproof. It's not true, and no one can agree with that. No one in this council room can agree with that, but that's exactly what you're doing when you're requiring people to wear masks. By default, you're forcing people to ignore 6-foot distancing. That's the reality. That's the end outcome. But again, so now back to this judge's order. He says, however good intentions, I think this is probably the biggest element, there's a lot more pieces, but he says, however good intentions toward a laudable end, which is basically good intentions, and are not alone enough to uphold government action against a constitutional challenge. Indeed, the greatest threats to our system of constitutional liberties may arise.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Laudable, and the intent is good, especially in a time of emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you. 3 minutes, Rod.
Roxy Montana? Roxy? Please go ahead. Hello? Roxy, go ahead. Hello? Roxy, are you there? Okay, we can't get her up, so I guess we're done. Thank you.
Right. So at this time, public comment is closed. Was there any other comments from the council members?
Yes, I'd like to,
Last comment, I'm sorry.
go ahead, Carol.
We'll go with Vice Mayor Spencer.
That's correct.
Well, okay, first of all, this council knows how I feel about this ordinance. I'm just gonna say that I'm very disappointed in speakers tonight shaming other groups. People have their right to their opinion. Just because they don't agree with a certain person or a certain group of people is not because they're selfish or anything. Councilwoman Lenore talked about diabetics. I'm going to tell you all right now, I'm in the high risk category. I am a diabetic. I've been exposed 3 times, one right here in this building, and I have yet to get the virus. I'm not making light of this. I understand we are in a very serious situation. But I sat here and watched that woman, the last woman that came up to this podium to speak. She walked into this building and she was approached by 2 different people to put her mask on. She was almost in tears to explain her health problem. That is the problem I have. That is the problem I have with this ordinance. Granted, we can be outside, we can do whatever we want. You're gonna have that one person who's gonna call the cops and you're going to be pulled over. I don't care if you're walking your dog. I've had a problem with this ordinance from day one. I don't like a fine, I don't like anything. But I really just wanted to say that I'm very, very saddened of the shaming that I've heard tonight from some of these speakers.
City Clerk, will you please mute the speakers?
Those are all people from outside the building.
Okay. Did we have another comment from council?
I do have comments. Councilmember Lenore, did you want to go first?
Well, just one last thing to reply to Supervisor Hernandez. I believe I stated that it wasn't just a mask. It's also social distancing. It's also good hygiene. together. We're not just talking about a mask here, so, make sure you clarify your statements next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Go ahead, Councilmember Sendis.
Thank you. Just gonna reiterate what I said last time. I think it's extremely disappointing and frustrating on how politicized the issue has become. And I'm very disappointed, not surprised, by the leadership or the position that the county took, but I am very disappointed that we couldn't have made this decision together in unison with the city of San Bautista, who led this effort, so kudos to them. Basically, I like a lot of what the speakers had said, you know, and I just want to give thanks to the people that were being respectful and being very professional during public comment, because this is not an easy decision to make or an easy position to be in, period. The people that are mocking and cheering and stuff, it's just frankly, it's quite embarrassing, I'll be honest with you. The woman that spoke about her children being home, that I really appreciate their message, and it really resonated with me, and that puts me in an awkward position. I'll be honest, I've gone back and forth with this because of those things. I really appreciate Miss Lowe's statements, and I think it was very nice, but I think that there has to be some type of monetary fine associated with it if we want to enact some type of ordinance, right? So I really appreciate your sentiment. The shaming, I see it on both sides, to be honest with you. Like, I guess I'm even doing it right now, right? So I don't know, it goes both ways, and it's very divided, and that's the one thing I did not want to come out of the ordinance, especially, you know, neighbors, between community neighbors. Like, people are shaming on both sides. Like, it's just really sad, I'll be honest with you. I guess in closing, I just want to say that if you don't want to wear a mask, then just don't wear a mask. But then don't go to our stores and don't put other people's health at risk, but just stay home. If you have a serious health condition, then there are alternatives that you can take. Let's be realistic. You could have came to a Zoom, you could send someone else to a store. Like, you can't use that as I think that people use those things just because of their political beliefs, and it's not fair and it's not right. We have to side with the medical doctors, professionals on this one. I agree with, I think it was Mr. Barcelo said that it's a small minority of very loud people. We are elected to protect the general public and the majority of the population. I don't think that they believe with what this group believes. I'm sorry, I just don't agree with that. And again, it's not an easy decision to come to, but I do fully support, and I'm gonna have to back logic, you know, doctors and scientists, and I just think that not to do that is extremely reckless and irresponsible. I just gotta be very honest with you guys. So thank you to everybody that was professional and courteous during speaking. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir. I guess I'll close with my comments, and as was said, this is, I think we can all agree on this, a crazy time in our history. Last time we saw something like this 100 years ago. And I think if we learn from history, we should understand some of the basics that made a difference 100 years ago. We're fortunate now today to have more modern medicines and different things to try to help with this pandemic, keep people, more people alive. I'm just disappointed that we went from a position early on of working together in our community, having extremely low numbers to the point where, as I've said before, other council members, people in other cities were contacting me asking how we were doing it. How was it that we were keeping our numbers so low? Low enough that we were one of the first communities that was able to open again, open their businesses. I'm hearing many people talk tonight about this is for the businesses or to kill the businesses. I'll tell you, the best way to kill a business is have this pandemic spread to higher numbers. Because the reality is, people won't go out. Yes, a few will, we understand that. But the numbers you need to have a successful business, they won't come out. I happen to own a business that will be closed probably a year because of this pandemic. Does it hurt me financially? Absolutely does. absolutely does, something fierce. But I can't imagine the thought of bringing staff and customers in and taking the chance of then being infected by this virus and something happening to them. I speak to quite a few people that contact me once they get the virus. They want to know what to do, where to go, what hospitals go to. And every once in a while, one of the families that has somebody that's in intensive care will talk to me. And that happened recently again. And I was communicating with the family for a few weeks while their family member was on a ventilator trying to survive this virus. And it's extremely sad to be speaking to a family that's dealing with this. And when I hear somebody say, well, you live and you die, and it's part of life. Oh no, this person was 39 years old. And to say, well, you know, maybe they had an underlying condition, so that makes it okay. It's not all right. Folks, we all have issues. I have lung issues. I take the precautions I can take, not only for myself, but I want to make sure others are protected. Look, this is not about wearing a mask when you're walking around the street. I don't wear one when I walk around the streets. My wife and I, we go walking every night around the neighborhoods. I don't wear a mask. But if I'm going to be around other people, I want to make sure I'm doing my part to protect them, and I want to make sure they're doing their part to protect me. Because we don't know, and that's the problem with this virus. But we do know that we work together, we could actually beat this virus and be done with it and get back to normal life. Because it is hard on everyone. And we all have to understand it is hard on everyone. But the sooner we work together, the sooner we will get through it. This is not a punishment. This is a way to help business owners deal with some people that do not want to wear a mask. This is a way for employees to make sure their employer is requiring it so they're safer. This is not about going, looking over people's fences or pulling you over because you're walking your dog down the street. That's not what this is about. None of us here want to see that. What we want to see is that we're all working together, we're driving these numbers down, and we're putting an end to this virus. I hope as a community we can get to that point, and we need to get past the other emotions that are involved with this. And just remember, it is a horrible thing to hear somebody that's going through this. And when it does happen to a family member, I guarantee you the response will not be live and let die. We're better than that. We're humans that have emotions, and we should take care of one another. Thank you. With that, is there a motion on this issue? Item F1.
Okay, I move that we, excuse me, get to the right spot. Gotta go over there.
I'm sorry, did you make a motion?
I move that we waive that we read by title only, waive the full reading and adopt ordinance number 1195, amending title 8, health and safety, adding chapter 8.05 of face coverings to the Hollister Municipal Code and adopting the California Department of Public Health guidelines for the use of face coverings to be enforceable by administrative citation.
Thank you, Councilmember Lenore. There's a motion, is there a second?
I will second that motion, Mr. Mayor.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against?
No.
Motion carries 3-1. We will move on now to item F2.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, item F2 is a request for the movement of monies from SLESF fund that was not spent last fiscal year, to move it to this fiscal year, to be spent this year on the purchase of vehicles, which is what we traditionally have used the SLESF funds for. Do you have any questions?
Is there any questions from council?
None
just
for me.
having a really hard time hearing. I'm sorry. Maybe go to the podium or something. I'm sorry. This happened last time when you were speaking. I'm assuming it's because you're wearing a mask. I'm very sorry.
Yes, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
This ordinance is, resolution is for the movement of $32,963 that were not spent, that were budgeted last year, were not spent, and the moving of those funds to this fiscal year to be spent on equipment and mostly vehicles, which is usually what we spend the SLESF funds on. You have any questions?
Perfect, thank you. Any questions from council?
None for me.
Okay, do we have any speaker cards?
I have no speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a motion on this item?
Could you give us just a moment? Council member Spencer has just stepped away for a second.
Okay. We can wait for
Yeah.
Councilor Spencer to come back.
I think that would be right if you don't mind.
No problem.
Should we take a
You want me to go ahead?
You know what? Can we?
You want me to, Christine is advising we can go ahead. Oh, here she comes. All right.
Sorry, I had to take a call.
Okay, I know.
That's
Okay,
I
so,
think we'll take 5 minutes after this. There is a motion. Did I hear a motion?
No, I move that we adopt resolution 2020-188 as presented.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I will second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Why don't we take a 5-minute break? Sorry, Vice Mayor Spencer. We'll take a 5-minute break now.
Thank you.
We're on the next one.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, we are,
F3.
we are ready.
We're ready to go?
F3?
We're gonna move to item F3.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. This is Paul De Silva, the IT Director for the city. This item is to extend my appointment on the CMAP Board of Directors for an additional 12 months. Currently, we're working on reorganizing CMAP. We have a new executive director and some staffing that we're working on with the board, along with renegotiating the franchise agreement, well, not franchise agreement to cover PEG services with CMAP and the 3 cities of Hollister, San Juan Bautista, and Gilroy. And I'd like to continue and finish those items out. And this also continues the annual stipend of $6,000 and also authorizes the city manager to appoint a future staff representative to replace me on the board next year.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
No.
If I could say, you just do an awesome job, and I can't thank you enough for the work you do.
Well, that too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I have no speaker cards, Mr. Mayor, and I have no hands raised.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 2021-89, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister authoring the City Council to extend the appointment of the Information Systems and Technology Director as staff representative to the Community Media and Access Partnership CMAP Board of Directors to serve term through October 2021, authorizing city manager to appoint future staff representative to the CMAP board and continue $6,000 paid annually to staff representative appointed for service on the CMAP board. I can't get
It's kind
that.
of long, sorry.
Representative.
Blame it on the mask.
Yeah.
It's all the mask.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Motion carries. We'll move to item F4.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, it's Paul De Silva, the IT Director for the city. This item is to implement a cybersecurity system for the city to help in preventing, ransomware and breaches from happening on our network. And I have budgeted about $54,000 for this system, and the system will basically scan our network and learn the normal patterns of traffic in and out of the network and across the network. And if it notices anything, an anomaly or anything kind of out of the ordinary, it notifies us. We also get notified from a team of cybersecurity experts that will help assist us in monitoring this system. And also, there's an automated piece of it that actually, if it notices a workstation that's reaching out where it shouldn't be, not only will it notify us and the team, but it'll also have an automated system to block that traffic from that computer from coming in and out and data going in and out. Again, I budgeted about $54,000 for this, and I was able to get the system in at under a little over $7,200 under budget for a 48-month agreement. And this also includes that, deployment of the system pretty much right away and not paying for it until January 1st of 2021. And again, it includes the automated response module, the cybersecurity team support, and 24/7 proactive threat notification. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to
Any
answer.
questions from council?
I'll,
No.
I'll just comment one short one. I always do like to see the spreading on the spreading out into the enterprise fund, so we get a good product and our 101 doesn't take the full direct hit. So I was glad to see the funding sources. Thank you, Paul.
Correct, it's split across funds
see that.
101, 601, 620, and 660, which, you know, general fund, airport, water, and sewer, respectively. It's about 20,000 on general fund, about 6,000 in airport, and then a little over 10,000 in each in water and sewer.
I like that when it happens like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any speaker cards?
I have no speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments or questions from council? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 2020-190. That's all I'm doing.
Okay.
They like it too, apparently.
You,
There's a motion, there is a second.
okay.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Actually inside the building, or are they outside?
They're actually outside the building.
Okay, thank you.
Move to item F5.
F5 will expend the CAL FIRE lease for the air attack base in their current location. It also adds some square footage for a new helicopter pad for their new Black Hawk helicopter fast ground team that would be being deployed from the helicopter, and add some storage area for the helicopter mechanic to store his equipment, tools, or parts near the flight line. We made progress with the new base, and this is a gap measure until they can get the new base built.
Mike?
So it is not for a very brief time.
Mike, this is Paul. Could you maybe try calling in on the phone or something, because you're completely cutting out?
And
Apologize, council.
That's okay. The people need to be able to understand, and us, and us, but everybody online too.
Yeah.
So anyone know a good joke?
If my dad was here, he would have kept you entertained. Of course, it would have been R-rated.
That's nothing anymore.
Oh, no. He was ahead of his time.
He's online.
Go ahead, Mr. Chambliss.
Unmute, unmute.
Okay, is this better, Paul?
Much better.
Much better, thank you.
Okay, I apologize. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Item F5 extends the lease for the CAL FIRE air attack base in their current location. It adds some land so that they can build a new helipad for the new Black Hawk helicopter that they're adding to their capabilities. And it includes some storage space near the flight line so that they can store the spare parts, tools, and other equipment associated with that helicopter near the helicopter. We have made great progress with the new base, getting it constructed. It is now moving, but we do need to pass this as a gap measure so that they can continue to pay us rent at the current location until they can occupy their new location.
Great, thank you for the update. Is there any questions from council?
No.
No.
Any speaker cards on this item?
I have no speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 2020-191.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mike.
We'll now move to item F6.
Staff is requesting that we pull item F6 due to the quick turnaround. There just simply wasn't enough time to get everything complete to meet the deadlines for the council meeting.
Is this, do we need to bring it back to date certain or just make a motion to table this item indefinitely?
I would table it indefinitely at this point because we're waiting on feedback from the contractor on answers to some questions. And I don't have a time limit that he's going to give us that feedback.
Thank you. City Attorney, would that be the correct motion?
Yes, that's fine, Mr. Mayor.
Is there any questions from council?
No.
Is there any speaker cards?
I have no speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a motion to table this item indefinitely?
I make a motion that we table this item indefinitely.
192 indefinitely.
May I ask that we withdraw so that there's no vote?
Okay. Just a motion, we don't need a motion, just withdraw?
A consensus to agree?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's withdraw it.
yeah. I consent to
withdraw.
withdrawing.
And I'm sorry, did that need a vote, City Attorney, or no?
No consensus.
No, that's fine. Consensus is fine. Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna move to item F7.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So, for this resolution would authorize a public assembly permit at the City of Hollister Municipal Airport for the Hollister Downtown Association for a Lights On Celebration Reverse Parade on November 28th and 29th, 2020, from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. This event will be free of charge to the public. And I would like to introduce Omar Rosa from HDA to say a few words on it.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. We are proposing, the Hollister Downtown Association is proposing a reverse parade for the Lights On celebration this year. Fully understanding how hard this year has been for everyone, the Hollister Downtown Association would like to, knew it would be important to provide a proposal for a safe event for our residents to end the year. In light of so many council gatherings this year, we propose the following as a way of still bringing our community together safely as we follow the state guidelines for social distancing. We propose to hold a reverse parade the weekend of November 28th and 29th, 2020, from 5:30 to 8 p.m. In place of our traditional downtown gathering, we propose an event where the parade entries, such as floats, vehicles, dancers, decorations, are stationary, and the attendees instead of watching the parade from the sidewalk, will drive through the designated area in a loop at the Hollister Municipal Airport and view the parade from the safety of their vehicles. All attendees will stay in their car. This will be a no-stopping event with no foot traffic. Cars will drive no more than 2 miles per hour, and there will be no distribution of any sort from the parade entries. Attendee vehicles will be encouraged to decorate their own cars. Parade staff, Hollister Downtown Association staff, and volunteers will monitor the event for compliance of rules and safety for all. Attendees will enter through the main entrance, circle around the center loop of the airport, wave to Santa, and exit out the same way. For this year, with COVID-19, the Hollister Downtown Association would like to extend a warm, safe community holiday greeting, and there will be no admission fee to enter the Lights On celebration. We will happily and safely accept canned food or toy donations for our community. At the end of the celebrations, volunteers will hand out candy canes in a swag bag using lawn sticks for safety to each of the vehicles. In addition, we will safely monitor tradition of the Decade project both at the Vets Plaza and the airport following social distancing guidelines. 30 or more trees will be decorated by the community members and will be donated to San Benito County family members in need. The downtown businesses will be included in the festivities with contests for best decorated window. The City of Hollister will hang the garland, and the Hollister Downtown Association will put up wreaths in the downtown area. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions from council?
I have a question.
Yes.
I wondered, I have total respect for HDA. Did you all discuss?
Mike, Carol?
Oh,
Sorry.
it's on. Did you tell me if this would be not good, but you know how they're doing the drive-through food? And I'm talking about money for not making nonprofits earn some money. I wondered if you could consider or maybe discuss between now and then, maybe you would have some food vendor that you could drive by and similar to what they're doing at Bellato Park with the carnival food. I'm just saying as a way for a nonprofit to make money. I don't know if it's feasible, but I'm just throwing that out there to
correct.
your organization.
And we were looking with that with the county and just to get guidelines on that and how that would work. But that was something that we were considering and having a couple of vendors out there just to sell.
So you might, maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wondered. I thought of that idea.
Sorry about that.
I just wondered if anybody
Yeah.
considered doing that as a way of maybe your organization making
Right.
some funds. I know you so desperately need, because all your events are canceled. So if there's any way you can capitalize on that, you should.
Yes, and like I said, we're definitely looking into that option, but we just mainly want to make sure that we provide an event, a community event for Hollister and
And I
Seminole
thank
County.
you for bringing this creative thing I've never heard of.
Yeah, we,
So I had to look and see, what is that? So now I know.
Yeah.
Took a
Awesome.
few readings.
If you look at Basona Lake, I believe in Los Gatos, they do this similarly every
Okay.
year, something like that, and then we were inspired too by a
I
4th of
never
July
leave
parade.
Hollister, so.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Not
Okay,
lately.
any other questions?
No.
Go
Oh.
ahead. Councilmember Resendez?
Thank you. Omar, I just want to give you guys, I want to extend my gratitude to your board and to Corey, your staff, and to Jen. You guys have really been great partners through the pandemic. I got to be honest, you guys stepped up and you pivoted in means of the farmer's market, and I know you guys have lost some revenue for having council events, but I just want to extend my gratitude. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. I've been to Basona. I think that this has the potential to take off. Like Councilmember Lenore said, like, if you could just partner with everybody, you know, hang in there. We support you guys. We really appreciate you going above and beyond, just like our rec department is, to accommodate and keep these community traditions alive. So thank you again. Please extend our gratitude to the board. And Corey has been just a blessing, absolute blessing. So thank you guys so much for all you're doing. Appreciate it.
That's very appreciated. Thank you. And yes, Corey has been amazing through all of this. So thank you so much for those comments.
She is.
Omar, I do want to thank you also. I just been so impressed how you guys came up with this, and you saved the lights on
You
parade.
saved
I
Christmas.
can't thank you enough for that. It really is something that means a lot to our community,
It's a
and
popular
you
event.
guys have really excelled on this one. And as Roland said, you know, thank everyone at the HCA for doing this, and all the volunteers, because as you know, this is something extremely special for our community. You guys are just awesome, so thank you so much. Do we have any speaker cards?
I have no speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
All right, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 2021-93.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Now move-
Thank you
we're
for
now
coming.
moved to item
Thanks for
F8.
waiting.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Maria. I am the Cannabis Affairs Manager with the City of Hollister. And the item before you tonight is for the approval of a cannabis delivery regulatory permit for Hollister Holistics 2. The City Council approved Resolution 2020-159, cannabis use permit / development agreement at the City Council meeting on August 17th of 2020, pursuant to Ordinance 1179, Section 5.42040. Issuance of a regulatory permit is subject to the approval of the City Council. This approval will allow the applicant to commence operations contingent upon all conditions of approval being met.
Tonight, staff is recommending that the City Council adopt a resolution approving a regulatory permit for Hollister Holistics 2 to operate a cannabis delivery facility at 1802 Shelton Drive. If there are any questions for staff, I am available.
Is there any questions from council?
None for me.
None.
Do we have any speaker cards on this item?
I have no speaker cards, Mr. Mayor. Oh, wait, I have one hand up. Carl Sailing?
Carl. Sailing.
Carl, go ahead.
Hello, City Council and Mayor. Thank you for continuing the City Council meetings on Zoom. That's very convenient and much appreciated. Thank you for that. My name is Carl Sailing. I'm CEO of Hollister Cannabis Co. I'm also the CEO of Hollister Holistics 2. And I'm speaking today to urge you to approve resolution number 2020-194, approving a regulatory permit for Hollister Holistics 2 to operate a cannabis delivery facility. During these times, there are many people that would prefer not to be potentially exposed to COVID-19 and would prefer a safe and sanitary experience. We will have very strict protocols on how we deliver to the residents of Hollister. We will sanitize every order before leaving our facility, and our drivers will do a complete sanitation process after every delivery, ensuring that we can do a COVID-free experience. We'll also have special programs for veterans, the elderly, and disabled residents of Hollister so that they can all access cannabis safely and reasonably priced. And currently, there's not an official Hollister delivery service, and we would be very proud to be the first company with that honor. And I thank you for your support.
Thank you very much.
I have no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 2020-194.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second, Mr. Mayor.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. We are going to move to item G1, reports from city council members regarding their committees.
Well,
F9?
Wait,
Or, yeah, F9, Mr. Mayor?
F9,
Is that F9? Oh, darn it.
so,
F9.
but I know what you're thinking, F9, the applicant has asked for this item to be withdrawn
Indefinitely?
by consensus, if we could.
Indefinitely?
My understanding, Councilman.
I do have one speaker.
Okay.
We do have a speaker.
Yes, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
Anthony Lombardo?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Anthony Lombardo. Just to make sure that our request is correctly described, we haven't asked that the matter be withdrawn. We've asked that it be continued to your next hearing, which I believe is October 5th. So that's what we would be requesting you do this evening.
That's good to know.
Good.
Very
Right.
important information. Thank you, Mr. Lombardo.
Do
Do
you
we
want
have
to?
any other speakers?
Speakers, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Any comments or questions from council? Is there a motion?
Move that we,
Okay.
I'll move that we move resolution number 2020-195 to a date certain of October 5th.
Thank you. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lombardo, for letting us know that. We'll move to item G1, reports from city council members regarding their committees. Councilmember Lenore?
I do have a couple of reports, but I'm not quite finished preparing them, so if you'll allow me to address my two committee assignments of AMBAG and AAA at the next meeting, I will do that. Thank you.
Absolutely. No problem. Vice Mayor Spencer?
I have no reports from any of my committees.
Thank you. Councilmember Resendez?
I do have a report. As Mary Gilbert had stated earlier, COG went ahead and approved $241 million. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, if I'm stealing your thunder just a bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't get to speak there very much, but I just want to share with everybody that, Highway 25 has been approved. It is going to be widened. I was really honored to be a part of COG, the time that I've been sitting on there, but I think we really need to recognize all of the COG members, all of the staff, all of the previous councils, all of the city staff and county that's been working on it for years and years. I think it's one of the most monumental times or items that we have, especially during these times with all the frustration with the traffic and whatnot. So I'm very optimistic. I'm very honored and proud to be on the COG, but I just want to make sure that we share that with everybody that's been involved over the years, all the previous COG members and whatnot. So thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. I just want to expand on that. I do echo everything you're saying. This is the biggest project in San Benito County's history, and it has been a challenge to get this Highway 25 widened to 4 lanes. So I do want to start by thanking a few people early on that were there early and supporting this effort. That was Supervisor Jaime de la Cruz and Council Member Victor Gomez that worked hard with me to keep lobbying Caltrans, the other supervisors, council members, and eventually the public to believe in the need to widen Highway 25. It's no small task. It's a major project. All the early estimates of what it would cost were blown out of the water, and eventually the dream highway was closer to $350 million, which we do not have. So we worked to create a project through sessions with engineers, Caltrans. We spent quite a bit of time finding a way to make this thing happen. We finally came to a consensus of what we can do and keep it within the range where we can actually get the project done. That's a $241 million project. It's exciting. Let me tell you what it is. It is 4 new lanes from San Felipe, just past that 4 new lanes would be just south of the existing highway, or you could look just over that hill there. It will go past 156. There'll be a new interchange there. 156 will be over the 25, and at about Hudner, the road will then merge with the existing road, and 2 new lanes from that point will be built in the northbound direction, just north of the existing highway, all the way to the county line, over the tracks, over the river, to the balsa. It is an amazing thing they came up with here to make this thing work. The existing 2 lanes will be the southbound lanes from that point. So we're still working with the VTA and Santa Clara County. As I mentioned earlier, they're going to do their widening project or their new exit at the 101-25. That'll be an exit with 2 lanes to stage the cars coming up to them, to a controlled intersection, going over a new overpass being built just north of the existing one. So all these projects together have finally come true, and it's been a long struggle, but as Councilmember Sender mentioned, a lot of people worked on this for several years to make this happen, and at the end of the day, it was the public that finally supported it in 2018 that is going to make this thing happen. Now, there's a lot of work to do still, environmental studies, design work, property rights, and then of course construction. This is still going to take a while, but it is finally a done deal, and it's going to finally happen. So thank you to everyone that was involved. That's all council members, all supervisors, all the staff at COG, Caltrans, VTA, so on. So thank you all. Big deal here. So thank you. With that, we're going to go ahead and move to informational reports from City Council. Councilmember Lenore, do you have anything?
Just one quick one. I'll let you know that my ongoing issue of the homeless in the parks continues. I met with a property owner up on Park Hill. We're gonna go up there and hopefully if Brett will accompany me or have a staff member, we'll check out the mess that's kind of scattered throughout the whole property in the nooks and crannies, and we'll see if Brett will allow staff to give some resources to clean it up, and hopefully we'll have a discussion next month on this issue. That's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Councilmember Lenore. Vice Mayor Spencer?
Yes, I do have something that I want to bring just for transparency. I've been getting a lot of emails and text messages about my voting on all these thousands of homes that I've voted on since I've been on council for the last 2 years. So I requested some papers. So I have it right here. It's documented. City has it. As of January of 2018 to August 2020, 4 residential developments, okay, let me rephrase that. Since January of 2018 to August of 2020, this council that I sit on has not voted for one housing development. In February of 2018, the previous city council voted an ordinance amending the Municipal Code Chapter 17.24.250 pre-zoning of specifically described real property. That was 192 single-family homes and 35 apartments. As of, let me get to my paper here. Total for 2018 entitlements, 9 residential developments consisting of 450 single-family homes, 78 multifamily apartments, 39 townhomes, and 22 condominiums. These are entitlements. These are not developments. Total for 2019 entitlements, 6 residential developments consisting of 4 single-family homes and 54 multi-family apartments. Total 2002 entitlements through August 2020, 4 residential developments consisting of 0 single-family homes and 35 multi-family apartments. All these are pre-zoning and they're through the Planning Commission. I just want to make it very clear to this community that I, myself, and I can only speak for myself, I have not voted for thousands of homes or new developments in this community. We don't have any new developments. We have old developments that are still being brought forward, and they have to be done because of a good faith system that we have. So I just want to make it very clear. I know that a lot of this is political. People put it out there because they're, this side, that side. It doesn't matter. This is not political. We're not out here. I'm not out here trying to run for mayor because I'm not running for mayor. That was also brought out. The reason I decided not to run for mayor, so the community knows, is because my family and I talked about it and we decided it's not the right thing for me to do at this time. So I just want to clarify that too, because it was out there in social media that my developer friends chewed me up and spit me out, which I don't know where that came from. But just want to make it very clear, this council that I sit on has never voted in a development as of yet. So just wanted to make that clear. You're welcome, Carol.
Thank you. Councilmember Sanders?
I have nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. City Manager?
Yes, I'd like to let council know that I have had a few meetings with the county. We are continuing to work on the commercial property tax agreement that I was given direction to work on. We are still moving forward on the parklet program. We were still waiting for some traffic study, but we're hopefully to be there soon. And then one thing that I'm sad to say is that we lost a great partner at the county, the RMA director, Harry Mavruginis, sorry, because his last name has always been a hard one for me. So I would like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Harry this evening, Mayor, and that's it for myself.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, City Attorney?
Thank you. No statement, Mr. Mayor.
Chief?
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to share with the council that there is a legislative mandate for racial profiling update training for law enforcement. And with all the COVID, the training has been really hard to obtain. A lot of it's been canceled. But Lieutenant Eric Olson, in his due diligence, contracted or discovered that the Los Angeles County Regional Training Center is offering that training. And actually this Friday, we're hosting a training here with surrounding police departments are gonna also attend to satisfy this requirement for recognizing implicit bias. So we're gonna be able to train almost the entire police department, and it's all for free. So I wanna thank Lieutenant Olson for working on this. He's been working on this for over a month and a half, so we should be able to satisfy all the requirements and stay up to date with the racial profiling updates that are required. So special thanks to Lieutenant Olson.
Thank you, Lieutenant Olson.
Great job. City Clerk?
I have nothing to report.
Thank you. We'll move to item G3.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
We sure can.
Very well. Thank you. A little extra excited that I just found out the Raiders won.
Oh, the Raiders?
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Shame on you.
Abraham Prado, Planning Manager with the Development Services Planning Department. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak on the update of the general plan progress. Since the council's selection of PlaceWorks earlier this year in February, just want to let you know that staff meets in a weekly basis via Zoom, sometimes even more than twice or more per week. And we're working away, getting things done, and it's been really good to work with them. They are really knowledgeable. They really know their update of the general plan, statutes and policy, and so it's been really good working with them. As you know, the general plan update, the general plan policy is a community document for the community by the community, and so it's very important that we gather a really good policy for the next 20 years for our precious community. As you know, this policy is going to be from 2023 to 2040, and so we're making headways, and I'm going to address a little bit about what we're doing so far. As you know, we did have the 4 visioning workshops from June through July, and very, very good feedback that we received. I touched upon it a little bit last month. We will be addressing and being more specific on the outcome of the information that we received from the community at the next general plan advisory committee, which is scheduled for October 6th through Zoom. So we wanted to make sure to let the whole entire council know that the next GPAC meeting is going to be October 6th, and we will be sending out, we haven't sent out the agenda or sent out public notice on that yet. We wanted to make sure that the council was the first to know that's where we're going to have Tuesday, October 6th, our next general plan advisory committee meeting. Currently, the city staff is working with the consultant to finalize what is referred to as existing conditions report. The existing conditions report is a baseline document for the environmental impact report that we will be preparing for the update of the general plan. It's really important. It's really, really detailed. We have spent a lot of time in it, and that's because we're looking at all the various aspects of the environmental impact report, including agriculture and forestry, land use planning, the economic development aspect of it, biological resources, arts, cultural and tribal, population, housing, and the economy. We haven't gone to transportation and circulation yet. There's a few others that we'll be receiving pretty soon from PlaceWorks, but the ones that we have received so far, today we sent out comments back to PlaceWorks, and we will be addressing some of them in our next General Plan Advisory Committee meeting October 6th. And the next round, we will be finalizing those existing conditions report on the following General Plan Advisory Committee meeting, which is tentatively scheduled either for late October or mid-November. We are working with right now the GPAC and staff to try to finalize the day, and very important with Paul as well, since he's been very instrumental when it comes to making sure that we have our meetings through Zoom and so forth. So we will be setting those dates, and we'll get back to you at that time. And so this is really, really important because with the existing conditions reports on all of these sections through CEQA, we are realizing what our existing local, state, and federal policy is, and what types of potential goals and policy we want to include for our document for the general plan, essentially. So really important that we get good feedback, and eventually this will be presented to you, council, for your direction as well. Just very simply, existing conditions report for ag and forestry. We'll talk about the policy in regards to converting existing farmland to other uses. And so therefore, we'll include the policy that we have today in regards to the State Department of Conservation, for example, and then we can look and see if we want to incorporate a policy as a local jurisdiction to, for example, if somebody wants to come in and do a development, then maybe have for a transfer development credits, say that if we are going to look into converting prime farm ag land, if that's an option, then maybe we can have the developer be able to reserve the same acreage of land or more in the county in perpetuity. That's what we see that other counties, cities have. We've actually done that in the past. It's not a policy that we have here in the city, but we've done that as practice. Other things that we can look at as well in regards to that. So it's really important that we analyze this, and we're working really diligently for this. The other main aspect that we're working on is the vacant land inventory. So we're looking at the whole city of Hollister and its planning area, looking not only for vacant parcels, but also parcels that are partially developed, to see what is the opportunity that we have for the future to correctly designate the parcels, to provide them a correct land use for each of these parcels, and to see what opportunities we have for housing, commercial, industrial, economic development. And we'll be getting the regional housing needs allocations coming up probably within the next year and a half or so for our next cycle. So that should help us see where we can accommodate future growth potentially within the next few years. Those are the things that we have been really focusing in on lately. This concludes the report. I would be glad to answer any questions if there are any questions, and I appreciate your attention to this matter. Thank you.
Thank you for the update. Is there any questions from council?
One little quick one. I wondered, Abraham, are you taking advantage of the new, is it Senate bill or Assembly bill that passed, saying that you're able to rehabilitate defunct little strip centers or large stores that are no longer in business? There's the whole opening up of rezoning.
Yes.
Declining and rezoning of defunct commercial centers. So hopefully you guys will align yourself. I believe that passed the appropriations and everything. It's probably gonna be available to us. Maybe your consultant will research that. They probably already know about it, but it would be a great tool to study.
Thank you, Councilmember Lenore. Sounds like a redevelopment type of potential law that came in. So absolutely.
They're giving you a way to do it.
Very well. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Any other questions? Do we have any speaker cards?
I have no speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Aaron.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
And your whole department.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. For HIJK, there's no business, so we're gonna ask to adjourn in the memory of Harry Manigaris. Last time I spoke with Harry was on Thursday night as we were approving Highway 25. And for those of you that don't know, Harry was very involved in the project, brought in a lot of ideas, sat with me for several days as we worked with the engineers. And I think all of us together really made that difference. And I really wanted to send out my condolences to his family. very good man, and we're gonna miss him. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
I move that we, okay, I was gonna expand on it a little.
Go, you do it.
Okay,
No,
I
you do
move
it.
that
No,
we,
you do it.
I move that we adjourn, this meeting in memory of the San Benito County's Resource Management Agency Director, Harry Mavrogenis.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, everyone, and good